revenue down 12%, vehicles delivered down, average selling price down, and yet you're at $500. Tell me why.
Yeah, I mean, look, the quarter itself, nothing to write home about. But I mean, our view, it's about autonomous robotics. AI is the future for Tesla. So to me, yeah, it's a rough few quarters ahead. But I believe autonomous, we are in the beginning. What's going to be $1 trillion valuation alone for Tesla. So that's why I don't get so concerned when we talk about deliveries, which actually were kind of in line. You know, when we look at what's going to happen in the second half, the story here, when it comes to physical AI, two best ones out there, it's going to be Tesla and NVIDIA.
Moving from a pre-autonomy to a post-autonomy world, did he do enough on the call last night to convince investors that it's going to be smooth sailing?
Look, I mean, obviously the call, you know, definitely some could have criticism in terms of, you know, promising so much. Look, my view is if 20 to 30% of what he promised you see in the next year, this is a stock that's up 70, 80% from here. So that's why when I look at Tesla, I don't focus, and we've talked about it so much in the show over the years, I don't focus near-term deliveries, what that means in terms of, you know, EV tax credits. This is an autonomous robotics story. And I think, look, the AI revolution, as we saw from, you know, from Alphabet, I mean, we are just in the early days of this playing out.
Maybe I'm Chicken Little, but I was looking at this press conference. I was reading this, and I was thinking, this is a disaster. I mean, essentially, this was a dream stock, and suddenly they're talking about tax credits and things of that nature. They used to talk about an affordable vehicle. Now they're talking about a stripped-down Model Y that doesn't sound that sexy at all, and they're going to expedite production of other vehicles and put that on hold. What would it take for you to get bearish?
Yeah. Look, I mean, you bring up great points. And that will be the bearish points. And when it comes to the affordable next vehicle, is that just going to be a stripped-down version? Look, Lisa, my view is that it comes down to like robotaxi. If you're in 25 cities in the next year, and you actually start to get volume production of Optimus when it comes to robotics, I think 90% of the future value is going to be in the AI story, not on the actual deliveries in terms of cars out there. You have 10 million vehicles in terms of Teslas out there. It's all about the data. And I believe the big thing is going to be at the shareholder meeting where they'll have a significant investment in XAI. And I think that's where you get more of a wartime CEO in Musk. And I think that's really going to be the difference.
Were you satisfied by his answers about XAI, about the investments there, the crossover with Tesla? Because there was a lot of ambiguity. Yeah. And he was asked that directly, and he wasn't able to explain that connection and how it really does rebound over, other than some people who are in this industry don't really want to work at a car company. I want to offer them an opportunity to.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, like, that conference call is not, you wouldn't put him in the Neary Hall of Fame, that conference call, okay? But again, we know, like with Musk, it's never going to be, you know, it's not going to be Microsoft-like. But my view is, and we've talked about it, like the board, they need to get him 25% voting. I think that's key. That starts what's going to be a significant investment in XAI. But we've said also, are there guardrails there that they need to put on? You've seen him become less political since the July 4th third party, you know, too. So I think, look, you want to see him less focused on that, more focused on being CEO, because it comes down to, like, the biggest asset for Tesla is Musk.
The press secretary yesterday was asked, does the president support federal agencies contracting with Elon Musk's AI company? Her answer, I don't think so. No. Can he do this without contracts?
Look, I think, but then it comes down, look at Grok. I mean, when it comes to Grok and the huge part of the DoD deal, look, the reality is that Trump administration could say what they're going to say, but they need Musk. Of course, they need Jensen. I mean, they're going to need leaders when it comes to, you know, of what this AI revolution. I think, look, that's the reality. And I do think at one point you'll start to see them, you know, I wouldn't say necessarily become friends again, but sort of mend fences.